This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, we got Rob, we got Sakura. Javi might pop in. You know how we roll. How's it going, guys?
What's up, guys?
Not a lot to talk about. Probably going to be one of the shorter shows, but let's just dive right into it. Alycia Baumgardner, test positive. Wow.
Yeah,
A lot of us didn't see that one coming, right? I mean, this
oh
was
my
a total
God,
shock.
I didn't see that at all. I still don't want to believe it. Okay, and you know how I am about people winning unfairly. Like that's something that I'm like really strict about. So it's gonna take like something else extra for me to believe that she did this. When I went to the fights Friday night over in Orlando, that was like the topic that was in everybody's ear. And for some reason, they was like, Sakura, what do you think? What do you think? Everybody
wanted this on me.
I'm like, don't put this shit off on me, right? Because they know I tell the truth. That's what it is. I have that curse of like telling it like it is. So
no bullshit.
Yeah, and so I was just like, I hope she didn't do that. I said, I don't want to believe she did it. I started just like that. I said, but on the other hand, this can either go two ways. It can only be that there was a mistake, an error in that testing, or she actually did it. Because with injectables, how else can you, pretty much say that was in your system? I mean, there's no other recourse on that one. So to me, it's either one of two things that had to have happened. Either she really did it, or there was some shenanigans with the in-house DAZN testing. And I don't know what the problem really is. Basically, is that no matter whether or not she's proven or found to be not guilty, she's always going to have fans are always going to have that in their back of the mind that she could be doing it. And I saw some photos of her as a kid because people are saying like, oh, what I always knew because she's got muscular arms and there's no way that this could be an extra. You know how they do. And then I showed them a photo of Alycia Baumgardner as a kid who has these same damn muscles. Like some women do have that muscular tone. A lot of Caribbean women have it. I'm not saying she's Caribbean, but I know that's one ethnic group that some women are more muscular than, somebody like me who has like no muscle and happens to be a last name like Armstrong. Like it's like the complete opposite. But I know that there are some women that do have that. So we can't just whether she did it or not, you can't see and look at her arms and say, oh yeah, that's why she did it.
No, yeah, it's definitely not a good measuring tool. Believe it or not, I was jacked in high school. But yeah, no, it's not really. And it would be different if we're talking jacked like AJ, like Anthony Joshua, where his arms are like this big around. That's a different kind of jack. Alycia Baumgardner's just lean, you know what I mean, and really toned up. She's not that big, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like strapping muscle, like bulky muscle.
Yeah.
And did you guys know that there are some men that pay for these real muscular women, like like the bodybuilding women, to like hug them and shit?
You didn't know that was a fetish?
I freaking had no idea until recently, like that was a thing, and that these women are literally making a lot of money. What is going on?
So there's
like a dominatrix type thing.
No, there's a show on Netflix about a famous woman bodybuilder who got into some trouble with something happened between her and her husband. But on that, she used to make all their money by doing that. People would pay her to come into their hotel. Big people, business people, rich people would pay her to come in and manhandle them, like put them in headlocks,
Wrestle
camel
them
clutches,
I mean,
shit like
that's
that.
basically dominatrix in a way.
or cuddle. I saw one lady. She was like just coming in and they just wanted to be like held, and they wanted to feel her muscles on them and shit. I'm like, damn, you sound like got some gay tendencies. Like if you're like a man and you want to be hugged up on a female that's got that type of muscle, like what's going on?
There's a big market for that.
Wow.
But back to the topic in hand.
I'm sorry. I just had to mention that when I said muscles, women with muscles.
I appreciate the extra.
And she did it. She did it. Okay. It was VADA testing. So it was VADA testing that caught her with it. And it was not just one, but two substances that she has to explain how they got in her system. And just like Shakira said, that they were, the way that you take those is hard to explain. This ain't just gonna be one of those situations where it was Mexican meat or a sexual act. Okay, she's gonna have to come back and explain this one, and I think she did it. And you damn need to go back to Michaela Mayer's fight, and we need to see what happened in that.
Okay,
and we need to see what happened in that one. Okay.
Yes, ulterior motives.
That fight is tainted. It's tainted.
Disclaimer: Rob is a huge Michaela Mayer's fan. Disclaimer, huge disclaimer. And also, the article I read, it was not VADA testing, but it was some in-house company that Matchroom uses.
No, ESPN has it right here that she tested positive for 2 banned substances during a voluntarily antidote testing leading. And voluntarily so no, it wasn't VADA.
No. Right. And that's the other thing that's so weird is like she volunteered for this shit. Like they didn't even want, like she's the one that initiated the testing to be done.
Yeah, but that don't always mean anything. You look at Lamont Peterson when he got caught. I mean, he was the one that was like, I want testing, and then he tested positive.
You know what? You're right. That's a possibility. You're absolutely right.
She still did it. Okay.
But we don't know.
Going back,
I want to hear Lucas's opinion.
Well, I do want to. I'm just going to read over this. I'm terrible at reading, so I'm sorry, but it is a long statement. But basically, it's coming down to, she says the sample immediately after my fight on July 15th tested clean and negative for all banned substance, as is my sample for June 16th, which makes my 12th result essentially impossible. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I'm not saying she did or didn't do it. Look, I don't really know, but I'm sure there's a lot of confusion and things could get mislabeled. Sure, it could happen. The problem is, and I want to say it to every fighter, is if you want to ensure that you are clean, pay for the 24/7 testing. That's the only reason. And the only person that we always say is clean is Nonito Donaire. Nobody ever questions him. Nobody ever says, I think Donaire's juicing up. No. And if he had one of these come up, he'd be like, bullshit. You know what I mean? Because you would be able to look back and you would see his test before, test after is clean. All of a sudden, this one pops up. The problem is how many tests did she have in full? It sounds like the 2 after were all right. The one before, was she cycling off? Did something else happen? Hard to say.
And that's what's so confusing about it too, is like she should have did her own independent testing. Because now the rumor mill has begun, guys. I mean, you got different fallouts here. Like you got McCaskill, Justin McCaskill, she said that, Matchroom pretty much tried to, kind of trap her into extending her contract with them. and pretty much threatened to do something in order to force her to sign that contract. And the part of the rumor with Alycia is that she only has one more fight with Matchroom signed, and that she didn't want to sign an additional contract. And that's a whole lot of conspiracy theories. I know that's a lot to jump from, but
this is boxing. That is not that much to jump from.
truly, like you think so? Like anything is possible. That is very true. Because that was she had all 4 belts. And it's like if she's like, the other promoters, they don't want you to leave with them belts. Like they want those belts to remain in-house. So that was something else that I was hearing in that Friday night, fight kind of exchanges that I was receiving from people on feedback,
Not to mention Dillian White just tested positive. So that's the second Matchroom fighter in what? In a span of a couple of months. What's going on over there at Matchroom?
And that makes me suspicious of the Dillian White. I hate to say it, but it makes me suspicious of the Dillian White results now too, because did they really want AJ to face Dillian White? And Dillian White has knockout power. After what we saw with AJ, is that really a fight that they wanted to happen right now?
So Matchroom over here taking positive tests. No, she cheated when she fought Michaela Mayer. She cheated when she fought. She cheated when she just had this last fight.
You know what the sad thing is, though?
Tested 24/7.
You know what the sad thing is both are likely. Both are just as likely.
Could be possible.
Yeah, it's like 50-50. Either, it was tainted or she actually did that shit. The problem is boxing is so corrupt. And I know we've talked about it a lot, but who's to say? We're going to throw you some money here. That test needs to come up positive. Because it's gone the other way. We've heard about that the other way, too. You need to forget about that test. That shit came back clean. Here's some money on the side. Boom.
Don't you think the other thing that really, Lucas, got to me is the fact that it was so long after the fight before you heard anything about these results. So if these results are going to come in after the actual fight that's supposed to help protect the fighters, what's the damn point anyway?
I agree. Now, I'm not saying they're still protecting some fighters, I guess. If by catching someone, period, you're at least doing some form of protection, because this way Alycia is going to be more looked at, more scrutinized, and made sure that she's clean before she fights next time. But my problem is it just keeps happening, and no one talks about anything except like, oh, you'll get like 6 months suspension. What the fuck? You don't fight for 6 months usually anyway. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so pointless. It is beyond a slap on the wrist. It's not even that. There is nothing in for this. So you might as well just juice up, go in there and fight.
Well, they're saying that they could possibly take the title that she was in that particular fight for. But then I'm going to be mad because you don't take nobody else's belts. So why are you going to try to make an example out of the female, out of the black female? So if they do that, that's when I'm going to go off, because I'm going to be like, well, usually you just suspend somebody for the 6 months. And if the sanctioning body decides that they want her to continue being the undisputed champion, then that's what happens. But for you to like pinpoint her and you want to take her belt now, I'm going to be upset because I'm going to scream bias. So like what you do for others, it comes around again, where what you exempt for others should be also exempt for the new person. Like that's the problem, is that there's no even playing field with this. As you say, Lucas, you know what I'm saying? It's like certain fighters are protected and others they throw to the wolves.
Take it and give it to Michaela.
Michaela is saying she's moving up to an entire new division.
Give it to Michaela.
She wants to go up one level to the lightweights, or the super lightweights, apparently.
We were
But
talking
what it
about
is she got tired of waiting for Alycia to decide whether or not she was going to fight her or not, when there was no point in waiting on that anyways, because Alycia told her the night she won the belts, I ain't giving you a rematch. You know what I'm saying? She literally told her that from day one.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Now that I think about it, Conor Ben was Matchroom too, right?
Oh my God, yes he was.
Who else sees like, I ate too many
Here's a
carrots
fact.
or something coming up in the future? Raise your hands. Something gonna happen weird. I mean, come on. This is where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
Yes, or is it that the other promoters are hiding results or not having the test done
We're
at
just
all?
not getting the test done. I think it's more probably not getting the test done more than anything.
All right, so we can't just pinpoint them. At least they are giving people the test.
That's true, but it looked bad when all your people just keep coming back positive.
But
we
in boxing, they shouldn't be trusting anybody. They shouldn't be trusting. I'm saying, as an independent boxer, and this is your business, I wouldn't trust any of them. If I'm doing testing, I'm going with VADA. Not saying they perfect, guys, but I'm going with the best, the established best. And you can still do your in-house, you can still do your in-house one, but I'm still wanting to get a second one done at the same time too. Now I don't know how you coordinate that, but at the same time, it's like it's worth the money, I feel, for boxers, period. So they can, have some kind of cushion.
Here is the statement by Alycia Baumgardner.
Okay.
I was hoping I could make that smaller. I don't know why it was so big.
Well, it's good. I mean, we just need to know like well, basically she was saying she's not going to sit quietly and, let them basically bash her and not have any thing to say about whether she's, about her innocence, or, just having a voice in it. She's not going to sit back. And a lot of people are on social media is like, no, you sit back and you should be quiet and you shouldn't say anything, because it only makes you look guilty when you try to defend yourself. That's what I read a couple of posts, comments, I'm saying, that were like that. And I'm like, no, if you're going to say something about me and I don't think it's true, you're going to hear my mouth. I'm going to speak up for myself. I'm not going to let the fates decide, or public opinion sway towards everybody that wants to bash me at the moment. Like I got a voice. I want to, say what I want to say. I don't blame her basically for saying what she want to say about it. You're talking
No,
about her, so why wouldn't she speak out on it?
right? Yeah, you got to defend yourself, especially in this case. I mean, this future money and your reputation. I mean, everything you are basically.
Yeah.
She cheated.
Jury's out. I guess we will find out eventually.
Well, perhaps we will get that rematch with Michaela Mayers. Maybe not at that weight, but now that, people in the back of their minds think, oh, she could have been using during that particular fight. Maybe that is a fight that she might consider revisiting and, clearing up whether or not she should be the world champion, and definitely better than Michaela Mayers. But guys, while we're talking, I want to send a shout out. This particular female boxer, she's like, having a lot of difficulty securing a fight. She's been at the number one contender status for over a year and has not been able to actually get a fight. Her name is Tiara Brown. Tiara Brown was the Washington, D.C. Cop that they did a a documentary on, including her boxing career, who now moved back to Florida in the Fort Myers area, and she's now a cop there. Um, but still is pursuing her career. But like that's another thing, guy. It's like Maureen Shea as well, who finally got to fight recently. But the opportunities, they're not like they are picking certain women and they're like riding so many fights on just their fights and leaving championship level, championship skill, talented women in the position where they cannot secure fights for the championship belts, I should say.
Yeah, for sure. Women boxing, all boxers are taken advantage of,
That part.
but women boxers are even more taken advantage of.
Well,
Not to
but
mention,
basically, they're avoiding her right now.
well,
You
yeah,
know, she's in that same weight class. I don't know the actual pounds, but it's the same weight class where Matchroom has the girl, the new prospect, Skyla, who already's had a chance for that same title belt, that same title. She's supposed to have been able to fight her for a vacant title at that weight. So,
where the
he's
smoke
got a
is
monopoly
fire.
on the women.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
for sure. I hate seeing that too. People earn their spots and then stuff's taken
No,
away. You know,
right.
don't matter what you do. Um, all right, let's switch topics a little bit. Rob, I know you're wanting to get off that. Let's talk Jared Anderson. I'm just
He put
looking
it
over there,
on you,
super
Bob.
bored. Look at you, right? Just emotionless. Let's talk Jared Anderson, buddy.
Now it's me. Can I text? I don't want to talk about this now.
Look,
It's my
Jared
turn.
Anderson is a top prospect in the greatest division in all of boxing. Of course, it doesn't have its former glory that it did back in the day when they had such great fighters like Ali, Tyson, all those great heavyweights. Um, so right now it's suffering a bit, but Jared Anderson is a name to behold, and our viewers need to get used to hearing his name because yeah, he's green, but he's good. I should coin that saying. He's green, but he's good, and he's an American fighter. So looking at this heavyweight division stack where he stacks up right now, I mean, it's looking good for him. He gets to set another example, have another fight live on ESPN prime time Saturday night, and I look for him to be spectacular in this bout. He's not really matched up against anybody that I'm worried about him losing. So we need to see, you're gonna see hunger, you're gonna see motivation, and you're gonna see hopefully a balanced attack this time by Jared Anderson, and you definitely should see a knockout.
All right. Well, you want to go there? So let's cut the shit. Jared, Jared
Damn.
Anderson. If you had to bet everything you had on whether he can be an actual champion, and I mean actual as in you can't win that shit no vacant way. You have to beat the man. Think he can do it?
Again, what I say, he's good. He's green, but he's good. He's getting the type of exposure and experience that he needs right now. He needs to bank more fights because he does get frustrated in the ring, especially when things don't go his way. He is really frustrated. So he needs to own in on those skills. He needs more. He just needs more experience.
He's 6'4", which is pretty short for a heavyweight nowadays. I just don't. I don't see the skills developing. I honestly don't, and I've said this from the jump about him. He's a good fighter when he's fighting this type of opposition, but this does nothing for me. I mean, if he does win against Rodunko, who's 35-6, I mean, good, I guess, but that proves nothing. This dude's a vet who's made to come in here and lose. I mean, it's not like he's coming in here and he's won his last 4 fights. No, he's lost like 5 of his last 7. I don't know, or 3 at least of his last 7. He's lost a lot. I don't know.
What did it say? 35 to 6. 35 to 6.
I mean, it's just not. It's not going to prove anything. He can knock this dude out in the first round. For me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. I severely doubt he will ever be there. I just don't. I don't see what everybody else sees, Rob. Can you tell me what you see about Jared Anderson that's making you so highly touted of him?
Well, first of all, it's the knockouts, okay? He has knockout power, and you're undermining the kid. He's fucking young as hell. He's way younger than these other guys out there. He's not a contender. He's only a prospect right now. And he's green. Like I said, he's only got 15 bouts.
You still haven't answered his question. He said, what do you see in him?
I'm telling you, he's got 14 knockouts and 15 bouts. He's 15-0, 14 of them are knockouts. That's what you want to see in the heavyweight division. I don't care who you are, period. We talked a week ago about Richard Torres. He has lousy skills. But y'all
now that would be a good fight, right?
Y'all want to see him because he has knockouts. This kid,
that's real knockout power to me. Like, that's the real knockout power that Torres has.
Yeah,
I don't see that. I don't see that type of power with Anderson. I'm more with Lucas on this. I just don't see what the hype is with this kid yet. And you're right, he is a younger heavyweight right now, but he's getting on up there. If he's like, what was it, 15-0? Okay, like you're supposed to be like ready for contender status in like 3 more fights.
I'd say the next fight you need to be contender ready, right? You need to be able to be up there ready for a shot. And I mean, I just don't see it. Look, you can say he's developing all you want. The problem is he's heavyweight. Heavyweights don't usually box. Yes, we have a couple. We got Fury, who's a freak of nature. And then we got Usyk, who's came up and actually was a cruiserweight first and could box. He doesn't have the size for me to be a heavyweight. He doesn't have that kind of pop to get that heavyweight push. I mean, honestly, he'd be better off to try to get in shape, maybe get some bridgerweight or go even down to cruiser.
He's 23. He's only 23 years old. He's still developing. He's a more polished heavyweight than those guys like Torres, and he's got pop, and he's got power. So bringing him along up there to get his confidence up and to build on his skill set at 15-0, there's nothing wrong with it. There's going to be more demanding fights of him in the future because he fights on ESPN. So in the near future, he's gonna have to up that comp level. He's gonna he's getting his name out there. So he's gonna be in the heavyweight title conversation in the next 2 years.
Okay, I got a couple of points. Okay, so you didn't have no sympathy or no type of patience for a 21-year-old heavyweight last week. But now you're good with saying Jared Anderson is 23. So that's the first thing. That's the first thing. I'm saying I'm feeling like a little bias here with the descriptions you've given me. You want me to have so much patience for him. Also, Lucas, on your end, you were saying that he's, a little smaller heavyweight, but like literally, we don't really know what the new heavyweight division is going to look like after these, super tall. I call them super heavyweights. They're about to go over that hump where they're going into the ending part of their careers, right? So we don't really know if he's going to be like an average heavyweight at 6'4" or not. And then my third point was going to go towards his competition. He's Ukrainian, Rudenko. Rudenko does, he's actually a great opponent for him right now because I do look at his record and I'm seeing some names that we do recognize, like Lucas Brown, the guy Zane. There was like one more name Huey Fury, which Huey was like the cousin of Fury. He's like got better skills. I don't know what happened to him.
Povetkin.
Yeah, Povetkin's on the list. So he's fought some good opposition.
But he's lost every time.
Well, he's lost each time, but that experience does bode well when you're trying to fight a contender coming up the ladder. So, it's like kind of, gatekeeper status, if you want to say. But I see in this Lucas Brown fight, it was a decision it was a unanimous decision loss for him. But, Brown was cut on the chin and above both eyes is got on the box red. So it's like, who looked the worst in the fight? You know what I'm saying? So he might have actually had some good rounds in there with him. And then I don't know what happened in the Huey fight. He's 26-3. He really didn't lose that much, but I don't know why he's like inactive right now.
And actually, he fought Mike Molo. Do you remember him, Rob?
From Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, he faced Bazilka, and they had an all-out war.
Wow.
But
yeah, so I think this guy is adequate. Like, he's not going to be a pushover type of fighter for Anderson. However.com, here we go back again with Anderson is not ready to face any of the contenders that are out here right now that are in the top 5 where you really make good money. And I just want to know, my question is, what does Top Rank do when Anderson gets to 18-0 and some of these other big boys that's out there that's like Lucas is saying is taller, like when they try to throw you at some of these people and all they can make a fight for is like an Andy Ruiz and probably feel safe. So I don't know what the future holds for Anderson. Maybe he does underperform. Maybe his nerves gets to him or something. But we are just not seeing the progression that we want to see from Anderson for him to be hyped up the way that they have been doing.
Yeah, I still don't see it. You said he's not ready for the contenders. I don't think he's ready for a gatekeeper. He's not ready for either. Coach Lou said his hype is he has followers. He knows how to stay in the media eyes. Look what he did. We are talking about him. Well, Lou, we're only talking about him because he's got a fight coming up.
This weekend.
Yeah. If it wasn't this weekend, I wouldn't be talking about it.
But
would not be on the docket.
Right. People are they throw money and investment into those fighters that have better followers. Like, that part is correct.
No, yeah, for sure. He can't have that big of a following, though, does he?
Which is where the sport has evolved around. But like Shakur said, there's going to be a new round of heavyweights. There has to be, because thus goes the heavyweight division, thus goes the sport of boxing. It's always been the case. And he's a part of a new generation of the heavyweights. So that's what we have to look forward to. You're not going to have these guys like Fury, like Joshua, like Wilder in the game for much longer. They're on their way out. So these are the guys you got to look at. Yes, you could throw Torres into that bag. I'll give you that. Throw Torres into that bag. But these are the guys that we now have to recognize is who's coming up in this heavyweight division. I want to see them fed to the gatekeepers. I want to see them move them out, and that way, prove themselves. That way we can see what we got at the end of the day, because this division has to keep moving.
Speaking of this division, FA also fights on this card. FA Ajagba.
Oh, FA Ajagba. I was wondering where he was at, because he took a break.
Pretty sure that's probably what they're reaching towards for Anderson in the near future. Is probably FA, as long as he keeps winning these fights.
Makes sense.
And that's probably next for
And that would
Anderson.
explain why he would be on the undercard. Is because they're trying to get him the exposure to
matched up.
Maybe so. I do like the fact that Anderson is from a rich boxing culture, like that is Ohio. So I'm sure he is getting, or he has had a lot of great tutelage in that area to help his boxing skills grow. I hate to say it, like he might be more skilled than what we see in the ring. And I felt some nerves and some anxiety type things going on with him prior to his last fight. Remember, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when he had
that was a gatekeeper.
Roy Jones.
That was a gatekeeper. Charles Martin.
Yeah, and he did very well against him too. Remember, Charles was giving him the business until he finally, hurt him. He was like pretty much controlling that fight. And I hope that Anderson doesn't have some, type of more. He's overthinking things maybe in his mind. But we have to, as fans, in order for us to back somebody and want to really truly support them, we have to see them at their best in that ring.
Yeah, and Charles Martin, everybody's going to say is a test, but I don't know. I don't see that as a big enough test. Yes, he is technically a previous champ. He lost that belt pretty quick, but
and let's not forget the fact that this kid is active. This kid is very active. So you put him in with Charles Martin. He went through some growing pains. He's right back at it, a few months later. So he's very active as well.
True. What's up, Rafi? Oh, okay. He's talking about this kid. He let me see video of him. And oh my God. Yeah, they're calling him the Apache. and from what I saw, the man is vicious. And he's only 16 years old. I mean, granted, most of his fights right now are having to be fought outside of the U.S. because of that dumb rule where you can't fight here until you're 18. I consider it a dumb rule because if you're ready for the professionals, why do you need to wait till you're 18 when a lot of them been fighting since they're 7 and 8 years old?
Especially when that's what you're going to do is second you turn 18 is fight anyway. But
right, like that's your profession. So
right.
I mean, and then it also called, like he's saying, it caused Haney to have to go and fight fights at 17 in Mexico, only to have people, how some boxing fans are like, oh, well, that means you fought a bunch of, people you could win against and stuff. There's still that corruption angle that people use when you're fighting in, either a South American country or a Mexico. Like they want to say these things, even though a lot of times it's not true, okay? Because them boys down there, they want to keep getting paid. And if they can beat somebody with a name that goes down there, they're going to try to do it. I've seen it before with the females as well. So it's kind of like, that's not, like that might have used to be how they did it in Mexico, where you go there for wins. That is not how those guys do it now. They want to feed their families, and if they can beat you and you have a name, that's perfect for them. What's Danny talking about? What's up? Shout out to my man Danny.
He's saying when we were talking about the followers, he said it's the way of the world now. Basically, how many followers you have, that's how you're going to decide if you're promoted.
Yes.
But he also said if you're allowed to drive, why not? You're allowed to fight. Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense. I like that one. Right.
But I don't know. I guess I don't see the ceiling. You know what I mean? Like, so when Golovkin came over, I could still see the ceiling that everybody was talking about. For me, he had to earn it still. I don't see a high ceiling for Jared. I mean, I just don't. There's nothing about him that's overly great. You know what I mean? Like, you can look at a guy and be like, man, he's got great power. He's got great speed. He's got great movement, footwork, ring generalship. There's nothing that I can think of for Jared Anderson that I would describe as great. Now, Rob, you're going to come back, and I can hear it already. He's still developing. He's still green. I hear that. But you have those fundamentals, right? Even when you're 5-0, right? You have something that's eye-catching. Okay. None of it is there for me, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Well, then let's talk about somebody who is great in the division.
He's like, I'm tired of trying to defend Anderson.
Let's talk about the heavyweight champion of the world, Usyk. He has possibly a big matchup this Sunday or this weekend, this Saturday. I don't know. Would you call it that, or would you just say this is just feed him to the sharks type for Dubois?
Right. Absolutely not. Daniel Dubois will not win this fight. I don't see the skill level there for him to deal with a more technical fighter like Usyk is. And now he's had time to adjust to the weight. Okay. When he fought previous fights, okay, against some of these people like AJ, he was still trying to adjust to the weight. Not anymore. That's a big boy now. Like he is like adjusted to that weight. And so he's not going to get tired. He's not going to be slow moving. He's going to be in there moving around and giving the business to Dubois. And I just feel like this is, to me, more like a stay busy fight for Usyk, because Tyson Fury is being a punk and wants to compete with his damn brother. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. He wants to compete with his brother on who can make the most money fighting MMA stars and YouTubers. Okay, and so that's more important in his mind right now than him actually becoming an undisputed champion at heavyweight. Make it make sense.
It doesn't.
I'm so mad with him.
There's just more money in it. It's sad, but it's true. I mean, you would think that there'd be more money there, but there's just not.
He's making pretty good money. He's not hurting for money, as we say. So therefore, why are you not wanting to build your legacy? Instead of you building your legacy, you only needed to fight one fight for all 4 belts. Usyk has 3. You have 1. What is going on, guys? Tell me, why is that not as important as fighting the MMA fighter that you could have fought after you fought for these 4 undisputed belts? Please, somebody make it make sense for me.
It's just a ridiculous fight that he knows he can win. And he's going to do it and make a fucking shit ton of money doing it.
So are you saying that he's not sure he would win the fight with Usyk right now?
I think I think he's still confident. I mean, Fury's that guy. You know what I mean? He's going to always be confident. The thing is Usyk's boxing ability is bar none. You know what I mean? I mean, he should be on pound for pound lists everywhere. And he should be in the top 5 everywhere he is. If he is not, then do you really know shit about boxing? I would question it. Ralph Gonzalez says
time that Usyk was waiting for that WBC championship fight to come into play with Fury, and it hasn't happened. All the terms apparently that Fury wanted, Usyk agreed. and then he went one step too far, and the whole thing fell apart. I believe it was deliberate. And now it's been a whole nother 6 more months. So somebody help me understand.
Well,
So
Ralphie's kind of putting it back on Usyk, saying Usyk just needs to fight with Wilder or Ruiz, even Ortiz if he's available. I'm not saying I wouldn't like to see those fights, but why risk the Fury fight when you should be able to fight for that undisputed? I think he's earned that. I
because
think both need to do that.
because Fury isn't really going to happen. Fury's retired, y'all. This fight with Negredo might as well be an exhibition bout.
Yeah,
I mean, it is.
Canelo recently spoke on the Breakfast Club saying he doesn't see exhibitions for him or fighting anybody like the Paul brothers or anybody like that now because it's an embarrassment to his sport. When he retires, he would take those types of fights. Fury.
So let me get this straight. It's an embarrassment to the sport, but you can embarrass your sport after you retire.
Because it would be an exhibition.
Oh, he's saying it's embarrassing when you're supposed to be professional and solidifying your record, which is what I'm identifying is a key missing-ish thing for Fury.
Exactly. Fury has one of the top shows on Netflix right now. Yeah. One of the top shows following his life. Just like these guys our fans have been stating, it's about the money and the followers. Fury, at this point, doesn't even need to take the fight no more. He's getting backed by major companies, movies, exhibitions now.
Okay, so you're saying it's off the table. This fight is never going to happen. That's what you're telling
me. If it does, then it's because Fury wants it to happen. At this particular point in time in his life, he doesn't need it. He doesn't even want it. So
that's the issue right there. He don't want it.
Usyk does need to fight these fights and keep it moving for his legacy.
Well, who said he didn't want him to do it? I mean, he's taking a fight with Daniel Dubois right now. Yeah. Like, who's saying that Usyk don't want to, defend his titles?
I'm not saying
but
that.
If he's gonna still be in the heavyweight division and he's a 3-belt holder, if Fury doesn't want to go for a 4-belt undisputed status type fight, then Wilder could, Ruiz could, or Ortiz could. But guess what? They've got to get the belts themselves, or it's got to be vacated. It has to be stripped, or it has to be given up by Fury. Right now, he's holding on to this title as WBC World Champion, but not defending it. How long are they going to allow this to go on?
As long as he keeps making money.
I don't know.
Let's face it. As long as he keeps making money. Now, in terms of this fight with Dubois, there's some things that I like about it and some things that I don't like. I don't like the fact that Dubois is so chinny, where he's able to get knocked out or knocked down by lesser or weaker opponents. I do like the fact that he does have power in himself. And Usyk, being more of a boxer, isn't really that much of a powerful guy to get him out with one punch, unless that chin is so damaged that he's just chopped liver in there. So I do think Dubois does have a puncher's chance because he does have power, and that's really why they gave him this fight. Not just to set him up for Usyk big draw there in Poland, but because Dubois does have power and can maybe land something to make us think, to test Usyk. So those are my key points in this bout here. I don't think he can do it. I don't know if Usyk will get a KO, and that's what I want to see. I want to see Usyk actually have some grit and determination to try to get a knockout here from a guy who is so chinny and vulnerable to where he should be making that statement.
You did say Usyk doesn't really have power.
Not one punch knockout power.
Well,
He throws punches in bunches. He throws combinations.
he can systematically break his opponent down.
Exactly.
Sure.
That Tony Bellew knockout was something. But I would agree for the most part, Rob. It kind of reminds me of like Floyd, right? Like he's got enough that you have to respect that shit. You can't just be coming in all reckless.
Right, it's a pop to it.
Yeah, but it's not like, oh, I'm dizzy all of a sudden as soon as I get touched. So yeah, it's very respectable power. I agree. Ralphie says it's going to be like Riddick Bowe versus Mike Tyson again. It could happen, but never happen.
That's
the
man. Usyk Fury. Yes, I do get that, Ralphie.
Honestly, I think Fury needs it. And I say that because this is going to be a fight that people are always going to be like, why didn't you fight Usyk? Here's the thing. If he beats Usyk, nobody else is in question, right? Nobody gives a shit about AJ. We already know he's going to beat AJ. We already know that. But our boxing minds need to know if he can hang with Usyk, if he can beat Usyk. A lot of people think Usyk's going to be, just be walked all over by Fury. I'm not so sure, but I would like to see it. Danny says Usyk will beat the shit out of you. They'll break down and fall.
Who is he saying that to?
Rob?
Oh no, I guess he is. Danny, who was you telling that to? But listen, here's what I see about Dubois. His will can be broken. And if anybody's good at breaking your will, that's Usyk. And I say that because that Joy Joyce fight, where all he was doing was a simple 1-2, guys. The entire fight. It was a jab and a hook, 1-2, 1-2. That is the entire fight. And it messed up. He couldn't defend himself on that. He never adjusted, Dubois, and his will was broken. I feel like that's easy pickings for somebody like Usyk, who's got the heart and the soul of a Indian warrior. When the first Europeans hit the U.S., okay, you do not want to mess with Usyk. Usyk is the one that will break his spirit again. I don't even see this as a close fight, guys. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I don't either. Usyk is just leagues above at this point. The only thing that could happen is, they're getting up there in age. All those guys, like we mentioned earlier, these heavyweights ain't going to be up here forever. How old is Usyk? Is he?
I hope
he's late 30s.
At his last fight, by the way.
Say what?
Like, that needed to be Chizora's last fight.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's one that needs to go out. And the other ones are like the Parkers and the Marcus, the Lucas that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Yes, all these guys, it's time to retire. However, we know some of them can't because they never were able to get the paydays that they need to sustain them, in a retirement situation. The other thing is, Lucas and Rob, as both of you guys were saying, yeah, he can fight other people. We want him to fight other people. But as you say, the fans want to dictate. The fans know what's the most challenging fight for each one of them right now. And the most challenging fight is the Fury for Usyk, and for Usyk, it's the Fury. Because it's going to be like two boxers in there. And I disagree. I feel like Usyk does have power, but his power is knockout power that was amazing at cruiserweight.
Mm-hmm.
That same power it's not going to knock out people that, you know, are coming in at like 300 pounds. That's what you're going to get when Fury gets in there with them. It's like, you know, he's going to be close to 300 pounds like he was with Wilder. So it's not going to work when people are bulked up like that. What does Manitas say? Manitas?
Says Arizona is dominating combat sports. Talking about Sean O'Malley, Justin Gaeth, David Benavidez, Jesus Ramos, Henry Cajudo, Elijah Garcia.
Well, which part of Arizona are you at? Because I need to move there. I'm tired of Florida in this heat. I mean, I know Arizona is hot, but you guys don't have the humidity.
It's a dry heat.
Yeah, I can do the dry heat. I can do better with that than this sticky humidity.
A little bit MMA there. I seen the Sean O'Malley knockout he was talking about. I don't watch a lot of MMA, but I did catch that.
I like Elijah Garcia out of those names the best. Jesus Ramos too.
Of course, David Benavidez.
Benavidez,
like
of
that.
course.
Yeah, I was expecting that from Rob.
Benavidez, new king.
Says he's from the Phoenix area.
All right, y'all. I got a little something special for y'all, if y'all don't mind.
Oh, wait, Danny. Oh, I'm so sorry. 1 second. Danny is correct. How about Escalera? I just did an article. You can find it on heavybagboxing.com. Is that right, Lucas? That's the right website?
Heavybagboxing.com. It's not up yet, but it will be later.
Oh, okay. Well, later tonight it's going to be up, and it's going to feature a heavyweight that is about to actually break Mike Tyson's record for being 18-0 with 18 KOs in the first year of his career. So right now, Jesus Escalera, heavyweight, he is at 17-0 with 17 KOs. So he needs one more fight to tie Mike Tyson's record, which is just freaking crazy amazing. At 43 years old, he has until October 13th to be exact, to get in these 2 fights if he wants to break the record. And I'm so excited for this. I want to see if it happens because it's a testament to what you can achieve when you believe in yourself and you do follow guidelines that help you get to that level. And this is from somebody that was inactive. They did have an amazing amateur career with over 130 something amateur fights. He was a Golden Glove in Connecticut, but then he did not ever go pro. So he became a referee with the amateurs. He also he's now a promoter. So he's still a promoter. He was inducted into the Florida Boxing Hall of Fame as a promoter. This guy has knockout power. This weekend, he was on William Hunter's card, Right Hook Promotions. Yes, Rob, your favorite guy, William Hunter. His fight was in Biloxi, Mississippi, and he won that 17th fight in the first round. He got rocked by this Brazilian who was a former champion, but he then turned around and hit him with like a 3-piece. And he could not recover. Fight over, 17-0, 17 KOs. So I'll be letting you guys know whenever this 18th fight takes place.
That's a great story. Look forward
It's
to
an
that.
amazing story. Like, if he doesn't even win it, it's still amazing. Like, at 40, that means he started at age 42. He started his career.
Well, his pro career, yeah.
Yes. And you know what, Rob? You would love him because it's all about the power, baby.
I seen him. I seen that story break somewhere else about him because, of course, they said he's challenging Mike Tyson's record. It's amazing what you can do. I'm 1 year older than this guy is. Of course, I'm not a heavyweight though.
If you
But
were
it's
and you had
amazing.
the chance to come back and do a pro career, would you do it, Rob?
I would
The
love
funny
to
thing
fight
is-
at that level at right now.
The
but I
funny
can't.
thing is, Rob, knowing you and how tall you are, if you got into boxing shape, even you would have to say you ain't shit because you would be under 130. You would be under 130 pounds.
You couldn't do the 135, Rob.
I don't know if he could. If he's truly in boxing
shut
shape,
up, Lucas.
he'd be under 130. He'd be 126.
He's telling these folks that.
But check this out.
All right,
guys.
I
let's
want
go.
to fight Mayweather.
Jesus did not get into this to beat Mike Tyson's record. He didn't know how he would be, but you know how when you just had that feeling like, damn, what would have happened if I'd have just turned pro? And he just wanted to know, could he at least win 1 or 2 fights? He had no idea that it would turn into being this close to Mike Tyson's record initially. And he also was trying to tell the boxers that he's trying to promote, like, hey, this is the fight you need to take. But he was getting frustrated because they was, the trainers was like, nah, it's too soon for that. No, we don't want to take that fight. Just give us 2 more, easy wins. Like, it's always like a different path that they wanted to take. So he's been able to prove if you stick to my strategy, you'd be ranked at 51 on the WBC list as whatever division, and you would be able to like actually be in contention within a year.
That's crazy. I bet he's beating himself up. If he does break the record, I'll be like, man, I should have just went pro and did my thing. Because if he doesn't,
yes, I should have just went pro when I wanted to, when I was in my 20s.
This is still he's successful at other things, so this is a hell of a story. I like it. Got a little something for y'all though. A little interesting rapid fire. Of course, fans chime in here if you like. So HBO has this series or this special that they run every year in the off season of the NFL called Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks follows the day in the life of training camp prior to the NFL season for an NFL team. So in honor of Hard Knocks, guys, and this is a lot of the topics that we like to discuss on here, which fighters' training camp would you like to go behind the scenes in, and what do you think some of the type of stuff you would see?
Oh, man.
Okay, repeat that one more time.
Which fighter would you like to go behind the scenes at and tape and look at behind the scenes in training camp? And what do you think you would see?
I'm gonna go with Tank. Because I already know the Mayweather gym, they got the doghouse rules. I think I'd be seeing a lot of good sparring, a lot of good fighting going on if I'm following Tank where he goes. I've heard some good sparring stories about Tank too. So, yeah, I think I get the most action I could and roll with Tank.
And drama.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, it'd be a show.
What type of drama you think you see, Lucas?
I mean, you're going to have probably AB in there. I can see a bunch of people, you know what I mean, also being in there. I mean, just being up in Chicago at some of the fights, Tank, Bronner, who else was there? They were already causing a scene and causing drama. So being there, and I mean, that was only for 5 minutes. They got kicked off the stage, right? I can only imagine if they were there longer, what kind of things would have happened. You know, that was 5 minutes. Give them a training camp. Are you kidding me? I'm going to have all the stories I can write. We got CJ saying Shakur. Go ahead, Rob.
And CJ, I need your why on there, or what do you think you would see then? Like, what do you think you would see in a training camp with Shakur?
Ralphie says Tank, Navarrete, Crawford, and Benavidez.
Damn, that's some list. Like,
that's
shit,
a nice list.
That is a nice list.
Ralphie, if you want to chime in, what do you think you would see in 1 or 2 of those training camps? I was going to briefly ask you real quick, Lucas, now that Tank's name is out there now, do you still think he would have got kicked out, or do you think they would have gave him special treatment if he did that now?
They know who he was. I don't think they cared at this point. They they wanted him out, so I don't know. Maybe he would be a little bit more tolerated, but I think it was getting too hectic, so they were shutting it down no matter what. That was Horseshoe Casino security that was kicking him out, though.
Horseshoe, okay, they don't play.
Shakur.
William says Bronner's the biggest waste of talent in the history of boxing. William, I got to agree. I'm not going to go off on a tangent because we got a thing to follow, but 1,000% yes, I agree, William.
However, that's somebody's camp that I wouldn't mind being in, because I know
that's also true too.
Like,
you know it's going to be fun. you
like
know
if
it's
you
going to
had
be fun.
Somebody's camp to be behind the scenes in, and behind the scenes in the locker room before the fights.
Oh man,
I want to be in that Broner's locker room, because there's gonna be some, there's some music artists might come through. Like last time we was in Miami, they had snuck in Rick Ross. He was up there chilling in the locker room with Broner. But also, you don't know what chick you might see. He could be actually spiritual that day and pray a lot with his team. Like you just don't know what you would see in that scenario. So I think Will was on to something there. As for me, I do think that a great camp to be behind the scenes and in the back locker room with, I got to throw in a female here. I think that Clarissa Shields, I think hers would be amazing to be at, just because you want to see like the heart, like she got like a strong heart and a strong personality type. And she's really confident when she goes in the ring. She done hyped herself up. So you don't know if they back there jamming and partying and stuff. Plus, I like when she gets out of the car and she got on a full nightgown, okay, on these bitches, okay. I
would also
that.
love to see her take on the men like she says she does in sparring all the time. I would love to see her spar some men. That would be great.
That's true. She probably does. Well, I'm pretty sure she has to spar men. They all have to. So that's another thing we could see in her camp. But Rob, you know what you want to see.
Coach Lou, I don't want to be in plant. He might mistaken and slap my ass.
Just don't grab that beard, okay? Don't disrespect him and grab that beard. But I think Rob would like to be in a female camp too, because he never know. Like he might get lucky. Like they might start eyeing him out and being like, "Yeah, you're for the post fight interview."
Rob's like Ebony Bridges.
Right. He's like, yeah, put me in that camp now.
I'm flashing back to what Shakur said earlier on about men wanting these women, these bodybuilders, to manhandle them. That's what I'm thinking about.
Okay. You put words in my mouth now. I never said that.
Read CJ's there.
CJ said, I would see that he is truly one of the best young fighters in the world in the future of boxing. Hopefully we get that when Shakur gets his shot at Devin Haney. And we got a sample when he called him out in public in the ring after the Lomachenko fight, and at the party where he said that Haney signed the contract. And that would be a good actual fight and training camp to be in. Right. At that level, to see how he would prepare for that type of fight. Ralphie says Tank up and downs and the mood swings, especially he's got a lot of bad mood swings with certain fighters. Navarrete, how his popularity is growing among Mexican fans, how other fighters are treating him because he's starting to capture popularity. I agree with both of those. But Shakur, my answer is surprisingly, and I have a reason. I want to go behind the scenes and see what is up in the camp of Anthony Joshua. I want to see what's going on with that man. I want to see the problems and the issues that can arise. I also want to see I also want to see the good stuff because people are really bashing him for his performance and confidence issues. I kind of want to get behind the scenes there because I think it'll be great to actually get into the root of the man's problems and for fans to try to dissect that. Is it the trainer? Is it the fighter? Is it
Yeah.
the hoopla behind it? All of that shit. I want to see all of that and
I mean,
dissect
that's some good
AJ.
thoughts. I think that would be hype too because, see, all them people are scared to tell AJ about himself. But if they let me back there, it's gonna be like Caleb Plant because I'm gonna be like, snap out of this shit. You're gonna go win this damn fight. You got all the talent in the world, bitch. Put it in that ring. Like, let's see some damn. Like, I don't want to hear no damn excuses. Like, I have him so hyped up, it'll be like he was in there with his damn mama when he was 5 years old. I'll be like, get it together.
Slap his ass with the truth.
I mean, yeah, I want to see that. I want to see if they do. If they do actually tell them that, and I want to see.
They
I
don't
want to
tell
get
them
into
that.
that.
They scared they're gonna get fired. They're gonna lose this money. Everybody's walking on pins and needles, kind of like how they're saying Wilder is in his camp, where nobody wants to tell him anything negative. I'm telling you right now that he could just say you're fired because I'm gonna go in there and he'll be so hyped and he'll be so fucking mad that a chick told his ass the real truth. He will have the best performance of his life.
Oh man.
And I think William Hunter here is alluding to
Well,
the
what
fact
Hunter
that
saying?
I think he's alluding to the fact that he said if I could be in any camp coming up, it would be Marcos Maidana. He seems like he is the type of fighter I could hang out with. I think William Hunter. I think William Hunter wants to drink Coronas and beers with Maidana.
Madonna does look like he's cool as hell. Shout out to Hunter for his amazing fight card, real competitive. His 3-0 guy, damn. I mean, he knocked this guy out, guys, so bad. You got to go to his page in order to see this knockout. You won't
Wow, wow.
believe it. I mean, it's amazing. But
Absolutely.
listen, Rob, you saying all that shit right now, but trust me, you don't want none of that.
AJ does need somebody like Ann Wolf. I like that, Ralphie. I like that. He needs somebody to take it hard. He needs some hard sparring. I think it would be good for him. He needs that.
AJ, I'm just saying that Rob don't want to be in that camp because he'll get frustrated himself. You know, Lucas, you know how he'll get like, he'll be like, man, get me the fuck out of here. You know,
Yeah.
like, what do you mean? What's going on? He'll be like, man, this motherfucker is pussy.
Hey,
You would say it, Lucas, say it 100%. He would do that.
if
Oh
he
yeah.
disappoints me, I'm just gonna run around and change his name on the dressing room and put ass juice on it.
Okay, see, there we go. Back to that name again.
If we could choose anybody, though, I would probably have to go with Ali just because he did transcend the sport so much, or like a Canelo now because like he's a superstar everywhere he goes. He's a worldwide name.
Well, get Ann Wolf in there. I want to just look at some of her camp footage, but I do not want to participate. I would be like that fly on the wall because there's no way in hell she gonna kill me out there trying to make me do some of the same the stuff that she had Kirkland doing.
No, but that would be great to go watch though. All the shit that she had Kirkland doing those 24/7s were amazing.
Yeah, they were right.
Unfortunately, she's retired.
They all believe Ann Wolf with hand.
Green's corner. This 2 weekends ago at the zone. I'm sorry, at the most valuable promotions card where Shadeja Green. People compare her to Ann Wolf a little bit. So I saw her come in with her, and she was giving her some tips and stuff. So I think she could be persuaded to come out of retirement if she really saw somebody that was needed serious help and wanted her and asked her to.
Yeah. definitely agree there.
Appreciate you, Lou.
Coach Louie.
Appreciate the comments, Lou. Yeah, that's what I had. I think that would be interesting. I know HBO used to have 24/7. Would love to see those back. These all access on Showtime are okay. But I'd love to see like more of a whole camp situation where they go in and don't just give us the fluff to promote the fight.
Exactly.
Right.
You got to see everything from like the way they work out, all that shit. I love that. Even when they were like the Pacquiao Margarito one. Remember when they were like they're beating Margarito's abs with those sticks or whatever, and then they showed Pacquiao and he was just like, "Good, he's gonna need it." I'm like, "God damn, that's some cold shit to say to somebody."
I like the Floyd one with Ortiz when Ortiz was getting a massage by the guy, and he's like, "Oh, he's letting this guy touch on him." Like, I would never let a guy touch me for some massages, and he got this pretty woman up there massaging him and shit. Looking like what a fool.
Even Chavez Jr. ones. He's just sitting around eating a bowl of cereal, ain't even training and shit.
Oh, he was, right?
Hold on. I think the most famous one was oh shit. Why did I forget his name? The most famous one was gosh damn it. He knocked out Pacquiao. The one who fought Pacquiao.
Oh, Marquez.
Yeah, was Marquez drinking his own piss.
Yeah, PP boy. Remember they called him PP boy?
Yeah, CJ said almost the same time you did.
Yep.
That is the most famous one.
That's all I had, y'all.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, this was a fun show.
As Coach Lou said, yes, this was a fun show. Rob does pretty good with our rapid fire, so he'll be sure to have one for us again next week. We'll go over whatever happens in the Usyk fight. We didn't go over. Usually we do predictions. I know my cohort's pretty good here. We all gonna pick Usyk. Okay, it's unanimous. Heavy bag boxing chooses Usyk as the winner of this fight. So if Dubois wins, we'll talk about that for sure. But definitely check us out again next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. As always, we don't pull any punches. All of our social media at Heavy Bag Boxing, and we'll see you again next week. Have a good night.